The Department of Justice and the FBI released the 11-hour camera footage of the Special Housing Unit, or SHU, where Jeffrey Epstein was being held the night that he offed himself. And we already have a lot of questions, and I will answer every single one of them in this analysis. Questions such as, there were people who went in the SHU but never left, or what is exactly the angle that we are looking at in this video, not to mention that strange hooded figure that concealed their identity, I don't know if a he or a she, and then got out of the SHU. Strange. Or perhaps one of the most disturbing questions of all, why is there a full minute missing from the footage that Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi said was going to be raw and unedited? Hello and welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my body language analysis and tips. Let's get down to it. First of all, remember that more than 1 month ago, Dan Bongino had already stated that they were going to release the video after some cleanup.
It was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this, we are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him.
Yeah, I don't know why it took so long to clean up a video that is going to show nothing, right? And when I say nothing, I will remind you that Kash Patel has said not once but twice that Epstein indeed killed himself.
But there is a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
So we're already off to a rough start here, and by the way, didn't they say that the cameras pointed at Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell didn't work? And that is the first question that I will clarify for you right now. To understand the angle of the footage that the Department of Justice and the FBI released, we need to get our bearings about what is the layout of the Special Housing Unit and Epstein's cell block. So the best way to do this is to look at the map, so to speak, of how it's organized, how the SHU is organized, and it's about 6 cell blocks that are organized in pairs, one on top, one on the bottom, as you can see them. You can see one of the cell blocks here, a second one, and the third one, and the other part of the map, this is, for the staircases, the elevators, the part of the, let's say the reception to that special floor, that particular floor of the SHU. And in this cell block, on the one on top, you got Epstein's cell. You see it here on red, and this space in yellow will be like the mini hallway of that cell block, where you can see the cells themselves. I'm going to show you this picture that will be really illustrative of this. Remember the space, the yellow space in here? If you stand in front of the cell block, this is what you're going to see right in front of you. I'm going to make sure that you look at everything so you understand where are we sitting. First of all, the first thing that we were talking about, a broken camera, a camera that didn't work. Well, there's one camera at the end of every cell block. And it turns out that that camera is right here at the end, but that camera didn't work. How convenient, right? But well, that doesn't matter. So we know that the footage released by the DOJ is not the one from that camera, but because that camera did not work. We see a bunch of doors here. It's important to make a distinction between the doors of the jail cells themselves and the utility and crawl space doors. If you see, for example, this door, the 219, you see that there's a window, right, where you can see inside, and the inmate can look outside as well. You got this slot to handcuff people safely. And you also have a slot in case that you have to handcuff them in the feet as well. You also have some of them who only have slots for handcuffing the hands. And you also have these doors, which are pretty much nondescript, like they have nothing. They have Like this one. Oh, how interesting. These are the utility or crawl space doors. This one, like here, I marked this in white. You see that there are two jail cell doors, and there's one utility door in the middle. Why? What are these utility doors for? And this is important. These utility doors are because if you need to fix the plumbing or the electricity, or, this is important, the ventilation of any of the cells, you want to be able to do that without having to open the cell and having to get the inmate out. You can then just go through the utility and crawl space door, and you have access to electricity, plumbing, ventilation system, everything of both of those cells. And you see that there's one utility crawl space door every 2 cells. Very practical. That is part of the design. So now you have a very good idea of what was like Jeffrey Epstein's cell block. One thing is that this is taken straight from the document that the FBI released on the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein killing himself. And by the way, Epstein's cell is a 2020 and it's off screen. It was maybe cropped in purpose, but that's why you see here 219. There would be another utility door and then Epstein's cell block. But this is enough to understand where are we sitting. Now you can see this. This is Epstein's cell, though here's where we were standing. And this is from the floor. This is like the ground floor where, you know, the guards, the officers could see the entrance to every single group or couple of cell blocks. And right from there, you can see that if you are in that ground floor, you are looking at Jeffrey Epstein's cell block, which was on top and was the L tier. Right there, you see that was Jeffrey Epstein's cell block. It's a bit hard to spot, but this is also important. There's a gate here. You see that there's this bars, this gate that is open right now. There's a gate to access the cell block after the staircase. There's a staircase that goes up and one that goes down. The exact same thing, but Jeffrey Epstein was on top. So far, so good, right? We move on, and this is the view from the officer's desk, the officer's station. Here's where they sat down and maybe take it easy. You can rest. There's a mini fan in there and maybe a telephone. All right. And from that, I'm going to go here. This is the officer's desk. You see that, oh, what a coincidence, that they had Epstein's cell right in front of them. I mean, I think there was the only cell that they had right in front of them sitting here. This is the officer station. You just had to, it's like raise your gaze, and you had right there, jail cell 2020, Jeffrey Epstein's cell. Again, we move on. And this is the other angle. This could be from Jeffrey Epstein's cell looking down into the officer's station. You see, now you can see very clearly the gate that had access, that granted access to the cell block. I really want you to understand where are we sitting here, because when you see this video, when the first moment I saw this video, I had already started all this many months ago, when I began studying the Jeffrey Epstein case. So when I saw the footage released from the DOJ, I was lost. I mean, what is this? This doesn't look like a cell block. This doesn't look like the real thing. Where are we? And what is this 46 in here? I don't get it. So there's one way, very easy way to understand, and I mark it for you. You remember the location of Epstein's cell. You remember the location of the officer station. Well, the angle of the camera that we're about to analyze comes from the exact opposite corner of the shoe. Here's the officer station. The opposite corner is right here. And here's the camera of the video that we're going to analyze. So much, you know, that's how important it is to understand where are we standing. That is very important. And that's how you see these tiny things, maybe you don't know how to read maps, but these tiny things that looks like shark fins are doors that open and the way that they open. And this one that I'm marking here, it's going to be easier if you look at this. See this way, okay, is the door marked 46. And that is the only way of getting in and out the shoe floor. That is going to be really important from now on. So try to remember that. Door 46 is the only way of going in and out. So we are there. There's the camera. So when we take a look at it again, and here, all right, we see the angle. What is the angle? This angle I have marked in yellow. You see that there's like two 45-degree angles or something like that. And door 46 is in the middle. And now you see the footage. Oh, now we understand where are we. There's door 46, there's the angle, and what is right here at the far end? You guess it right. If you guess it, well, congratulations. This is the officer's station, if you can make that out. That is important. Again, I thought that it was really, really critical to understand the angle so we can understand everything that happens from now on. And before we move forward, let me see. All right, it's important to understand. This is critical. That okay? Can we actually see Epstein's cell block from here? And if you see the officer station, okay, this looks like a mess of desks and computers. That is the officer station. I think there's a person standing here in this screenshot. You see that there is some kind of teeth. You see this teeth? Like some vertical teeth in here. Those are the staircases to go up to L tier cell block, Epstein's cell block. And you can see for yourself that from our angle, from the 11-hour footage of this camera angle, you can see only a sliver of those stairs. So you can, maybe you can lean to the other side. You can go up and down without being seen by this camera. Again, that is going to be important later on. If it's too hard to spot, I'm sorry about the zoom in and zoom out. That is the access to Epstein's cell block. That is what's going on in the footage that we are going to analyze. Is that crazy? And just in case, for the record, this is also from the document of the FBI. Jeffrey Epstein's cell is 220, and just in case, this is going to be important for some of you. Oh, all this says that these photographs have been modified for privacy reasons. The only way that the photograph that you have seen, for example, the photographs of the staircases, they say that they have modified them in the document of the FBI. It's only to blur ways to identify officers or turns or anything. But this is the structure. This is the real deal. So that is important. Keep that in mind. So we move to the actual analysis, and I guess the best way to start the analysis is to see the last time Jeffrey Epstein was seen alive. I think it's fair, right? And we know that this is the last time that Jeffrey Epstein was seen alive because the timer marks 7:49 p.m. And according to the document, the full investigation of the FBI, that was the time that Jeffrey Epstein was seen alive one last time. And I'm going to just play this. Maybe we can play this in real time. You see two officers walking this inmate in orange. You see the only way that we can semi-confirm that this is Epstein is that, well, his hair was white. We know that his hair has always been white in all the pictures. We know that the guy was alive, or at least that's what we think. That was Jeffrey Epstein being led to his cell at 7:49 p.m. that night. The only other thing relevant that happened before that was this lady entering through gate 46. Remember that this is the only gate, the only way to go in and out of the shoe is through gate 46. And we're seeing right now an officer using the phone. You see a phone on the wall. That's the way that you communicate with the officers outside that can open this door. This door can only be opened from the outside. All right, she leaves like a trash bin right there. She waits until the door is open in a minute. It's gonna be really quickly. Let's speed things up. Just for the record, remember this is 7:46. You can always see the timer in the lower left corner. This is before Jeffrey Epstein was seen alive the last time. The door is open from the outside, and this female officer goes out with a trash bin through gate 46. So which other event do we have? Where does the wacky stuff begin? We have then 7:56. I'm gonna play this way. Maybe in twice the speed. I'm going to play this as twice the speed because these details are not as important for now. But you see that there are actually people going in and out. And Kash Patel said that there's no way anybody could go in and out. And at least so far, so good. It's an officer, right? Should be no big deal, right? And we also have other moments. This moment is going to be important because one inmate at 8:16 p.m. I think that he was collaborating with the cleanup, and he dropped these 2 trash bags, not in the trash bin, but to the side. This is going to be important because someone is going to pick those bags later on, and that someone who's going to pick those bags is important. We move on. We continue. Now we are at 9:07 p.m. and one officer, what is he doing? Oh, he is given some kind of secret paper, or I don't know, schedule, or some kind of folder right below the door. They don't open the door. They just slide maybe an envelope. Maybe it's some kind of random paper. Maybe some kind of a document that he needs for the shift. He goes to the door. He doesn't touch the phone because he's not going to request you open the door. Gets the folder, and okay, no big deal. Now, what happens now at 9:11? A guy that looks like a maintenance, he doesn't look like an officer, grabs the phone, asks for permission to get out. I guess that there's a camera. I guess that there has to be at least one camera working to see who requests to go out, right? You have to see if you're going to open the door from outside, who is requesting for this to open. So maybe they are looking through this camera that we are looking at right now. It makes sense, right? You have a clear view of whoever is asking for permission to get out. So he has the ability to get out. We can play this at twice the speed, no big deal. And then the same guy enters again at what time? He goes out at 9:12, and he goes in again at 9:15. No big deal. We still have some strange stuff. We see I don't know if it's another female officer or if it's the same female officer that we saw a while ago asking for permission to get out or to leave. They open the door in a minute. This is at twice the speed, and she goes away. And then she enters again at 9:32. No big deal. Maybe it was just a bathroom break. I guess that the officers don't have bathrooms inside that bar. Now, this is the thing. This is I think this is the greatest red flag of all this video, of the 11 hours of this video. This is hands down one of the most concerning red flags. This video is not continuous. This video was spliced, was cut. And how do we know? Because there's 1 full minute missing from the footage that we were promised that will be a continuous footage, continuous video without interruption, without editing. How do we know? Keep an eye here on the timer. It says 11:58:50 p.m., right? And we go 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, and we guess that we're going to see 11:59, right? That minute, so close to midnight. 5 seconds to go. 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, what happened? What happened in there? We're here. I'm going to do that again. 11:58:55 seconds p.m. You never get to 11:58:59 seconds and you just jump. I'm going to zoom in case you miss it, because this is proof that this video was tampered with in one way or another. There you are. 11:58:58 jumps to straight to 12 a.m. At some point I thought, okay, maybe it's a glitch of the system, maybe it shaves off 1 minute, but it's strange that it was not just 1 exact minute, it was 1 minute and 2 seconds. So that is strange in itself. And the other thing that's maybe the system, let's play devil's advocate here. Maybe the system splices the video itself when there's a change from one day to the other. That is a possibility. But then why does the frame, and by the frame I say, look at how the size and the orientation of the frame is going to change. I'm going to rewind this again, so you're going to see how it jumps. 5, 4, 3, 8. Now it's smaller. First was bigger, and now it's smaller. And eagle-eyed body language bodies would have noticed that in the upper right corner of this video, something appeared that hasn't appeared in any other point of the video so far. What is this? This absolutely looks like a menu of a video editing app. You see the usual, what looks like, the backwards. This looks like the fast forward. Will be like the two edges of 2 arrows with it looks like a menu, or a menu of some kind. This looks like a pause button, all right? And it is odd, right? Because this should have why is there a menu of a video editing app or any app going inside this? And you know what is the worst part? The worst part of this, the most concerning part, I'm going to tell you what is the most concerning part. I lost my bearings because there's so much stuff here happening. I'm going to help you see that this was happening from 11:24 p.m. on the marker. I'm going to fast forward back and forth, and you see that at many times the menu of this video editing software was just popping up. 11:55 p.m., 11:24 p.m. was there, 11:45 p.m. was there, and then, you know what is crazy? After it changes to the next day, to 12 a.m., remember that there's 1 minute missing? The video editing app menu never appears again. That's odd, right? That is a huge red flag. That is a huge red flag. The video has been tampered with. The video is edited, and not only with contrast and lighting. Oh, we wanted to edit the video. No. It is in every version that minute is missing, and you have already seen that it's quite easy for anybody to go out. The shoe where Jeffrey Epstein was being held, in 1 minute. You just go up the stairs, press the button on the phone, and you go out, and nobody will know. Nobody would know. How interesting, right? Before we move forward, remember to download my free 100 body language tips right in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. So we move forward. We have more strange things, even more strange things. You haven't seen nothing yet. And we see this case shortly after that video splicing at 12:01. Another guard trying to come out, and this one, they held him for a long time. I'm gonna play this as 4x speed because they held him really long. He leaves the door open. He then shuts the door and then come back at 12 of, oh, no. This is the guy that I wanted. This is the guy that I wanted to show you that doesn't make sense in any way. This guy, like minutes after this officer leaves, there's this big guy, okay, dressed nothing like an officer. He's got like a jacket and a cap or something. He goes in, all right, this is gonna be important. He goes in, he grabs the 2 trash bags. You remember the 2 trash bags that the inmate had put in there and not in the trash bin? Or maybe they're not trash bags, maybe it's their laundry. It looks more like laundry. I'm going to correct myself right now. This looks more like a laundry, dirty laundry, and he shoves the dirty laundry away and gets in to something, another bag of dirty laundry, shoves it outside, maybe tells somebody something, make sure to close the door and enters. Most likely, this big guy with this jacket and this cap, maybe he was an officer that is going to get dressed, like when he arrived at the shoe. But they don't, do they have lockers or something? Wouldn't that be easier to leave your belongings like in some other space? Remember that they had plenty of space on that area that should be another group of cell blocks, but I don't know. But those are my the thing that I'm thinking. And by the way, why would an officer take care of the dirty laundry? Maybe it's no big deal, right? But why didn't the maintenance guy that left before do that? Questions. I'm just asking questions here. Maybe it's no big deal. Maybe it's not a problem. But now we arrive at 1 a.m. And at 1 a.m., you must have noticed that I included one time, the same timer that we have in the corner. We need the timer up in here because I'm going to play this. I'm going to scrub just past this very fast because from 1 a.m. and like 1 hour and a half, there was almost no movement. I'm going to play this, okay? There was one officer walking right there. I'm gonna keep moving this. I'm going to try to speed things up. It's gonna be too slow. I just want to show you how maybe this one was one of those times where the officers doze off or were, you know, taking a quick nap because you see how the timer is moving, but we see no movement whatsoever. The only movement that we see is from the compression of the video. There's somebody sitting at the officer's desk, at the officer's station, but they're not moving. And even if you were checking your phone or looking at the laptop computer or at the computer, you would be moving in some way. And no, whoever is in there is not moving. Maybe I'm mistaken, but from what I've seen, we're already at 1:23, 24. Gonna go a bit faster. We are almost at 2 a.m. in the morning and no movement whatsoever. Make sure that I don't skip any. No. Maybe we could say, maybe I could say that there's a blob moving in there, but they haven't. They are sitting and they haven't moved much for a good part of an hour. Are two officers in there sitting? Maybe it's two of them. Again, the quality of the video, there are some part of the, sorry about this, the quality of the video doesn't allow for much detail. But it's not until much later that I could detect that they were actually doing the rounds. And much later, I mean I'm going to jump all the way to 3 a.m. Yeah, all the way to 3 a.m. Again, maybe you can check the footage. By the way, the complete footage, the 11 hours, I'm going to upload them to my Crime Corner True Crime channel. I'm going to leave that link in the description as well. So I didn't see much movement until 3 a.m. Even if they were just sitting and chatting 2 hours without, standing up and walking a bit, I think it's way too much. I think it's, I don't know, it was odd. Now we have a change because at 3:15 a.m., an officer, I think this is the female officer, yeah, the female officer decides to maybe a bathroom break. I'm going to play this as 4x speed. All right. And notice that she's wearing a jacket, by the way. She's wearing a something that looks like a jacket. It might look like the jacket of the big guy that entered a while ago. And then she enters again 2 minutes later. Bathroom break, no big deal. Again, she goes out again at 3:43 a.m. All right. I play this at 4x speed. And then she goes in again at 3:51. Again, maybe another bathroom break. And now there's this woman that I had never seen, that we can only guess that she has been here all this time since after the video began, since after Jeffrey Epstein was sent to his cell. This woman who doesn't look like an officer, she asks to get out. Where did she come from? And what was she doing when the other officers were maybe sleeping or sitting on the officer station? I don't know. That is odd. I told you there are going to be strange things in here. And now we are at 4:16 in the morning. 4:16 in the morning, and another moment in which there's going to be a huge chunk of time. I'm going to play this really fast. There's some moments that my software is failing. Maybe it's not 11 hours. I'm tired, boss. 11 hours of footage, please. Have mercy. There can be some movement at 4:23. I think there's some movement. You see here, right? There's a blob that barely moves. Right there. Okay, we can assume that they're moving. I'm going to zoom out and play this fast, but trying to not that as fast. There's also another flash of a blob in there, but they're not basically not moving. They're right there at the station. And at some point, there's no flash, no movement, no nothing. They must be taking a nap. 4:30 in the morning. Let's see how much. Okay, we are close. Remember that Epstein was found at 6:30 something in the morning, so we are just 2 hours away of they realizing that something gone terribly wrong. He offed himself. Again, no movement whatsoever. I think this is going to last until almost 5 a.m. All right. And at 5:27, we have a bit of a movement. But we have a 5:27 a.m. in the morning. This is something that okay, the female officer is going out again. We can play this at, okay, twice the speed. He gestures and she goes in, but there's a figure. There's a strange hooded figure. Who is this? This person, who I assume is a female, and is wearing a hoodie is going out at 5:38 in the morning, and we haven't seen her, I assume that it's a she, going in at no point of the night since Jeffrey Epstein was walked to his cell. And you cannot make out her features. I think it's a hoodie that she's wearing or something that is covering, and there's no way of looking at her face or identifying her. Quite strange, right? We never saw her going in. We move forward. You get my bearings again. There's so much stuff in here. And there's this officer going in. Let's the timing. Let's get the timing right. At 5:38, the strange hooded figure goes out, and almost immediately after, like simultaneously, an officer comes in. That is important. It's simultaneous. There's no editing here. The hooded figure goes out, the officer comes in. And then that same officer, 10 minutes later, goes out with a bag on his left hand. He requests to go out, and there's going to be a long time. He's going to be held there for a long time. I think it's the longest time they're going to hold him in there before opening the door. We are less than 1 hour from Jeffrey Epstein being found dead. Hasn't been. I'm going to play this at 4x. But yeah, he was waiting here for a lot. He grabs the phone again, and then he does something with the trash bin that nobody has touched. He takes a bag from that trash bin, okay? He checks something. He still has the bag that he was carrying now in his right hand, and then he like fixes the bag, and he goes out with the same bag. Well, there was no reason to fix that bag, but he did. And one last thing before Jeffrey Epstein was found dead, this strange hooded figure that I assume is a woman enters again and takes, I think that she takes the hoodie out after she has gone in front of the camera. I don't know if this is a she or if this is a he. I don't know. You tell me. But it is so strange that a hooded figure, you could use a hoodie or have your identity concealed by going in front of the only camera that was working. All right, so I guess that is the thing. And now we arrive at the moment in which Jeffrey Epstein is found dead. This is the last clip for today. How do we know this is the clip? Well, it's 6:34 in the morning, and you see that there's more movement. You see that we have like 3 or 4 people in here. I'm going to zoom in and play this at twice the speed, maybe 4x the speed, so you can notice that there's more movement. You see there's some kind of distress. They're going back and forth, and they push the chair. They begin making calls. Nobody's going out. Nobody comes in, but they already know that it's obvious that they already know that the guy was dead. So that's what we have so far. Again, I told you so many questions. I tried to answer them all. The thing that I found the most disturbing was the mysterious hooded figure that went out and then in, well, barely less than 1 hour away of Jeffrey Epstein being found dead. We don't know if it's the same person, and the fact that the video was spliced. But again, I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Don't forget to download my 100 free bottle language tips right in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the bottle language guy. Much love and bliss.